Welcome to Birds of Prey Sports, where we weekly cover Ravens and Orioles news. We're your hosts, TJ and Jared. And in this video, we're going to be covering the Ravens draft pickups. And so we're just going to get right into it. It was before I get into the picks, I just want to say, I thought it was a very, good draft by us. We addressed a lot of needs, especially this was very kind of defense heavy. We addressed a lot of those needs and, we addressed needs on the O line too. And a lot of people thought, we would get guys like A.D. Mitchell or Keon Coleman, but I kind of like the route that we did, that we ended up doing. I think it's going to prove a lot of wonders, for years to come. So, to start out with the first pick, we draft cornerback Nate Wiggins from Clemson. And I'm just going to go into my thoughts about him, and then I'll ask you. I kind of said this before in our mock draft video. Nate Wiggins, he's a tall corner, a very fast corner. If I had to compare him to, a past Ravens cornerback, in my generation that I've seen, I would say Kerry Williams. Kerry Williams was, he was a ball hawk. He was very tall. He wasn't as fast as Nate Wiggins, which I feel like that can add a whole nother dimension to his game. But that's one guy that I can kind of compare him to in my eyes, just based off the way he's built and how he looks. But I think it's a great pick. Nate Wiggins was definitely one of the top corners in the draft. I'm going to be very excited to see him, what he can do, picking off the ball, um, his movement after he picks off the ball, if he can run it back. We've had a lot of, great cornerbacks and DBs that are able to they're able to take it back to the house after they pick it off. So, what are your thoughts about Nate Wiggins?
I remember in our draft video, I was kind of talking about how I didn't think he'd fall to 30, but
Mhm.
I guess that other teams saw different. I think the first cornerback taken off the board was Mitchell, to the Eagles. I think the Eagles double dipped their cornerback. They got him and Cooper.
Yep.
So, very surprised to see Cooper, Kool-Aid, Wiggins, still down there, and down to 30, we really had the chance to choose between those three guys. And, I kind of wanted Cooper, at first, but, after reading some of the intangibles for, Wiggins, like, he definitely is pretty fast. He wants to be physical, he's a get in your face type cornerback. The only thing he really needs to work on is, just building up a little bit. And that's important just because like he's only 20 years old, so him building up that strength, for the next few weeks. Hopefully during training camp, rookie camp, whatever. Even if it doesn't take his first year, because who knows? He might not be on the field that much in his rookie year. He might be a guy who is in there, year two, makes impact year three, whatever it's going to be, because if they don't feel like he's physically fit out there, then I don't know if we can put him up against some of the best receivers in the league, so um because otherwise, I think Marlo Stevens, you got Cahan, Marcus, Darius Washington hasn't really shown much here, but he could have the potential. I know you're still high on Jalen Armour Davis, so this secondary is pretty good. You add a young corner Wiggins, like I said, he's only 20, has the chance to bulk up, get stronger, maybe get even faster. Who knows, So um, I really like the pick personally, and could be a Marlo replacement. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off what you said, I liked Cooper DeJean too. I liked his ball tracking skills. He was I feel like his tackling could have been better, but the Ravens could have helped him out with that a lot. But honestly, you can't go wrong with whatever corner you got. Now that I kind of look at like post draft, obviously the Eagles got two of the best corners, but I like what we did too. I don't think any team could have been wrong with the cornerback position, but I just want to read off some of his 2023 stats. He had 28 total tackles, 22 solos, six assisted. He had two interceptions, and he actually ran one back for a touchdown for 52
Mhm.
yards. That's just a glimpse of, his ability, what he can do.
I,
Um,
I want to say you picked off the third overall pick, Drake Mate, off twice in the game this year.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So you see what he
We,
can do,
I
we
think we
get,
played the. Did we play the pass this year? I don't think we played the pass. No, we play the AFC West.
yeah.
Wait, no, no, we do play the AFC
Yeah,
West. Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
we don't
Chargers,
play,
Chiefs. Yeah.
and we won the division. The Jets definitely didn't win the division. We play the Bills. So
You can pick off Josh Allen.
well, that's pretty easy.
Okay. You're right about that. But okay, moving on to our second round pick, pick 62. We select Roger Rosengarten. And it seemed like this pick right here was the voice kind of cracked. It seemed like this pick right here, though, he was kind of wanted by a good amount of teams. I believe the Chiefs and the 49ers wanted him. And the Chiefs called the Ravens about this pick, trying to trade him for it. And the Ravens said no, or maybe the Chiefs said no, but I know the Chiefs called the Ravens about this pick, and they were interested in this guy. But I'm glad that we got him. He played with Washington, so he played with Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah.
He was protecting his blind side, I believe, and he did a pretty damn good job at doing that. So I really like this pick. I think he's very big and physical. Something that we need on the Ravens offensive line. And he doesn't seem soft. We definitely don't need that. We've had a lot of that in the past years. So, I could see him really helping out the running game and even the passing game too. I really think he's a great, blind side blocker. What are your thoughts about Roger Rosengarten?
I mean, it's kind of interesting considering like he played right tackle, but was pretty much a left tackle with Michael Penix, at Washington being a left-handed QB. So it's pretty interesting they went with him, and just because it might be interesting if he might be moved to left tackle next year, when Ronnie Stanley eventually leaves, So I think with him protecting Penix's blind side, I don't know how the difference like I've never really really paid attention to that or like really understood that like what the difference could be between protecting the blind side on the right side versus the blind side on the left side. But hopefully it's not that big of a difference and he could do good job. He could do a good job at left tackle next year for Ronnie Stanley's replacement. But you know, I've watched a few videos about him. I know a lot of people seem to really like the pick. There were a few people who were kind of skeptical about it. Some people were even saying, he might not even be starting right tackle next year, but I guess he's got to compete for that. He compete with probably Falele, and others, so maybe even what's his name? Makari. So I don't know if I want Makari starting. But you know, I like the pick, I know he got a lot of, hype because like, national I mean what's it called? Washington went to the national championship last year, so those players get put on a spotlight. Same thing with like basketball too. When you make it to the NCAA tournament, some of these lower school teams, get to show off their skills, for the NBA draft, NBA scouts, so that's kind of the same for football too, So I definitely do like the pick. Um, you know, I'm very iffy about the tackle situation just because, like, Ronnie's inconsistent and possibly got a rookie or Falele or Makari, So, um, obviously, I guess we'll see, when it comes to training camp and preseason, whatever. Just pray he stays healthy because our offensive line depth is kind of questionable at the moment.
Yeah, and honestly, in my opinion, on paper, as of now, just going off of what these guys can potentially do and talent-wise, I think our offensive line can, be pretty solid. I mean, we got Ronnie Stanley, left tackle. It seems like Voorhees, Jason, is his name Jason
Andrew,
Voorhees?
Andrew
Andrew
Hayes.
Voorhees. Jason
Yeah.
Voorhees. What am I talking about?
Oh
Andrew
no,
Voorhees.
I thought he was referred to as Jason Voorhees. No,
Yeah,
we might
yeah,
be thinking about somebody else.
yeah.
Not like Voorhees, but we must be thinking about some other offensive lineman.
Yeah. But we have Voorhees at the left guard. Obviously, we have forgot his name.
Cleveland.
No, Linderbaum at center, right? We have
Yeah, yeah,
Linderbaum
yeah.
at center. Um, our right guard, possibly Rosengarten, and then right tackle, maybe Ben Cleveland or Rosengarten. They might try to switch in between those two. So, our offensive line on paper is definitely looking pretty solid. If they can, stay healthy. So I really like this Roger Rosengarten pick. He was definitely wanted by the Chiefs and 49ers, two teams that
Yeah.
we're going up against, or could be going up against a lot this season. So, in the
Yeah.
playoffs,
I,
a
I,
great pick.
I, I was kind of interested because I know that some Ravens fans wanted, I want to say it's Kingsley, something from BYU. I forgot his name. He's from BYU. I think he
Yeah, the
wound up
guy
getting
the Chiefs
drafted by
got.
the. I was gonna say. I wonder. Not I wonder. I thought he got drafted by the Chiefs. So by a few picks later, if I'm not mistaken. So I know a lot of the what Ravens fans wanted, the Ravens didn't really do. Obviously, I thought a lot of Ravens fans wanted, like maybe like, Coleman or, I know a lot of them wanted Brian Thomas Jr. I did want Brian Thomas Jr. too, but like I only wanted a receiver in the first round if we got rid of Bateman. And with the extension happening, you kind of figured we were probably going somewhere else. I felt like corner was probably the second to last. I thought that receiver was going to be the last once we signed Bateman. Because I don't know. I just feel like it'd be kind of stupid to go for a first round receiver. You know, because I mean, is wide receiver three really going to do any work? This year. So um, I like the first round, like the first 2 or 3 rounds, whatever. Round two, 1, 2, and 3, are usually probably the ones where you can really get some players. Rounds 4 through 7 are really you're just kind of hoping that you can develop some players, in my opinion. No, so anyway, you can go ahead and continue.
Yeah, so going on to pick our round three pick 93, we got Adisa Isaac. And I'm not gonna lie, this guy is from Penn State. I haven't watched too much film on this guy, but he ended up this past season 35 total tackles, 22 of those solo, 13 assists. He had 7.5 sacks, one forced fumble, and that's about it. So that's
Mhm.
pretty solid stats. I definitely do like the 7.5 sacks that he has. That could be, a great contribution to the defense. I really haven't seen too much of this guy. I mean, what are your thoughts about him? Adisa Isaac.
Another Penn State linebacker we got to develop. Edge rusher, I should say. So we probably won't do. We won't go that well at first, but you know, I know a lot of people weren't a fan of this pick. Some analysts weren't really a fan of this pick as well. They don't really like his pass rush package. You know, so I don't know how much of a thrill, it is for me, personally. It kind of reminded me of the OA pick, but in the third round now, where it's just kind of like a guy. It's like, huh? Like who? I didn't hear him on any draft boards, so um, I know some, Ravens fans wanted a receiver here, so since we didn't get the first 2 rounds, but wasn't I'm not I don't know I'm not a big fan. I want to say he hasn't played football that long, kind of like how Way and Najabo didn't. So um if we can develop him, I guess maybe is a guy to give a breather for guys like Ojabo and Away, then you know maybe it could be something good. But I don't really got high hopes for him, to be honest. The Ravens team to struggle with developing edge rushers anyway, so kind of taking him in the third round. It's kind of like us taking a receiver in like the fifth round. He's never gonna play, and he's probably not gonna develop into anything here. And I don't know, like not the biggest fan of the pick, but I guess we can see what we can do with him. Personally,
Yeah, and I agree. It seemed like, all the Penn State guys that we get never really pan out with us. It seemed like we're
right?
more of a Michigan and Alabama, type team. So, we'll see what he can do. I mean, the way I see it, maybe you did say the first three picks are guys that you hope to, be starters, but maybe it's kind of like a low risk, high reward type thing, that we can get out of it. So our next pick, round four, pick 113, wide receiver Devon Walker, or Tez Walker to shorten his name. A lot of people were very, very scared about this pick. Obviously he's one of those receivers that's very fast. He can stretch the field, but he has questionable hands. And being
Fits
Ravens
right
fan,
in.
what was that?
Is it fits right in?
Yeah, he does. And I was just about to get into that. Being Ravens fans, we've definitely had our fair share of questionable hands receivers, whether drafting or free agent pickups, like Brashad Perriman, Seth Roberts, we didn't forget about you. Even Hollywood sometimes, in regular season games, he would drop up passes. So
What's funny about Hollywood is like it was only kind of like I can only remember 2 games he really had the drops. Like I want to say it was that Lions game, and then I genuinely can't remember another game where he had the drops. Do you remember another game where like he had a
didn't
really bad game?
in the Broncos game in 2021, I think he had a pretty bad drop. That could have
No,
been
no,
a
he
touch.
had that awesome touchdown. No, you may be thinking of maybe that Browns game in 2020 when he dropped like the
Yeah,
fourth down
yeah, he
conversion
did.
and
He
he
did,
did
yeah.
drop that. You know, he did have some butter hands, but he caught the game winning touchdown, or at least the game time, the go ahead touchdown at the time. You know, so I don't know. Like Hollywood was soft though. I don't know. So
Yeah, we don't
you can't
need
even
that.
lie. He was kind of soft, and that's crazy how different Zay Flowers was from him. You know, because Zay Flowers he doesn't seem to. I mean, he runs away from the contact, but you know he doesn't dive himself to the ground or jump out of bounds or if freaking Marquise could teleport out of bounds, you know, from the midfield to freaking out of bounds, he probably would do it. So, um, yeah, so that's kind of what I asked about that.
Yeah, and just to read off some of his stats, he had 41 receptions, 699 receiving yards. He averaged 17 yards, a game, it seems like. No, I'm sorry. 17 yards per catch, I'm sorry. And his
I was like,
longest
damn,
was
he sucks.
no.
Why would you draft this scrub?
He really would have been Brashad Perriman. He his longest one was 56 yards and he had 7 touchdowns. So I believe he was the Tar Heels wide receiver one this past season. Obviously, he had some issues with his eligibility with the NCAA, so he missed out on about maybe like 3 games or something like that. But if he can just get if he can just get those like those Butterfinger hands problems resolved by the start of the season, I could see him contributing a lot to this team. Obviously, he's not, when it comes to the Ravens wide receiver hierarchy, he's on kind of like the bottom tier, because we have Zay, Aguilar is there and Bateman is there, who we expect to have a great season this year. So he's gonna have to kind of work his way there.
Right.
And, that's kind of the type of guys that John Harbaugh wants on his team, guys that are going to want to work. He literally said out his mouth he doesn't want guys that care about stats and all that. He wants guys that's going to work. So maybe that, went into the process of us drafting him. But
Stupid quote.
again, I just want to say, and then I'll give it to you. I'll give the spotlight to you. This seems again like a very, low risk, high reward type thing. I really feel like that. And hopefully it's a high reward for us. So what were you gonna say?
Well, at first I said that's kind of a stupid quote because I mean, why wouldn't we guys? Why wouldn't we want guys who like want stats? You know, like I guess if that's all they care about is one thing. Maybe that's how I meant it. But like, what's the other receiver who wants to get 1,500 yards? You know, and 12 touchdowns.
Right.
You know, like he does his committee bullshit. So whatever with anything. Like I said in one previous videos, if he could do quarterback by committee, he probably would go crazy with that. You know, so and you even referred to how we used the quarterbacks in 2018. But
It seemed like it was gonna be that way.
exactly. So, anyways, for me to pick, I like to pick, but like if I had to be honest here, as a Ravens fan who's watched the Ravens, for many, many years now, and just recently really started paying attention to the drafts. I don't see he's a guy that makes the field, to be honest. I mean, he's gonna have to work his ass off to get onto the freaking field, even as wide receiver three, probably, or even four. I could totally see them putting Aguilar over him all year. So I don't expect much from him his rookie year. Totally see him as a guy who, you know, will take maybe 2 to 3 years to really maybe break free to wide receiver three. If he really, really breaks out, maybe wide receiver two. But these late round receivers never really pan out with the Ravens. I think the only one who really did was probably like Torrey Smith, but wasn't he in the second round?
Yeah, he was in the second round, Torrey Smith.
Exactly. So like these fourth, fifth, like the Devin Duvernays, the Prochet's, all the Miles Boykins, all these guys, like let's be real. I mean, if we give him a shot like how we gave Miles Boykin, that'd be nice. Now, the most ideal situation here would probably be him, him, developing into like the big body deep threat, even maybe possibly red zone threat. But I don't know. Like the Ravens don't seem to implement that type of stuff. You know, this big body receiver threat. So if I had to be realistic, I love the pick, but I think he's gonna find a hard time trying to make it to the field this year, and maybe even next year too, because we have Aguilar under contract next year. So I think we do. Do we? We gave him a 2 year contract or a 1 year contract.
I think we give him a one.
All right, so he'll be wide receiver three next year. But I could also totally see them getting a veteran. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, like somebody going into free agency next year, a veteran wide receiver. So I don't know. I think Tez is gonna have a hard time getting on the field, and he could totally be the next Devin Duvernay. Besides with the kick returning part. Meaning he'll maybe see the field every once in a while, but never going to be that guy. I would never really predict him to be on the same field with Zay Flowers, Bateman, and him and Walker on the same field together. So I mean, maybe they can prove me wrong. Maybe he'll be on the field, week one. I guess if he earns it, I think if he earns it, he deserves a start. But you know how hardball is, so he might not give him a shot, especially with receivers. So um, could totally see him maybe making an impact year two, year three, and then I guess we'll see after that.
Yeah, and not to mention he's also going to be going up against guys, like Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely in terms of, receiving, catches in the game. So, he
Right.
has a lot of people in the hierarchy he's going to have to overcome. And, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen in year one. And it's kind of unfortunate, because let's just say he has a game where he drops like two balls. Lamar himself and Harbaugh, they aren't going to have a lot of trust in him. So, he really has to be on his A game. And not
Mhm.
to mention Deontay Hardy, I feel like he's going to be very
Right.
trustworthy in the Ravens offense, so
Yeah, but I think
um,
he's gonna be more a special teams guy.
yeah, 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 definitely.
And didn't Tez Walker say he wanted to be a gunner as well? I don't know if you heard that clip, but he said he'd be willing to be a gunner. I'm like, John Harbaugh salivating at his freaking mouth, about that. He's like, so we're gonna put this guy on special teams, blah, blah, So he's probably happy as heck that he freaking said that. It's
Special
like
teams
he
is
was, he was like, I was gonna do that anyway, but thank you said you want to do it. Like,
yeah, special teams is his roots, but we're always like bottom 10 in the league every year when it comes to special teams, it seems like.
I think that was
Uh
only last year we were really kind of mid on special teams, but I get what you're saying.
yeah. But moving on, before Harbaugh watches this video and gets mad at us, I'm just saying. Moving
Ain't
on
watching
to
this.
moving on to our second pick in round four, pick 130. This is a very nice pick that we have right here. A lot of Ravens fans like this pick. We have cornerback TJ Tampa from Iowa
Oh yeah.
State. A lot of people were surprised that he even fell that far, and just to give you, a glimpse of the player that we're getting, in 2023, 44 total tackles. That's a lot for a DB or cornerback alone. 33 solo, 11 assisted. He had two interceptions, and that's it. But just a very physical player. Very he's very alert when it comes to his ball tracking skills and interceptions. He's reading the quarterback, reading the plays a lot. It seems like he likes to help gang tackles and helps with assists when it comes to tackles. Because 33 tackles for a cornerback is insane. And that's
Yeah.
that's actually a lot. So he's very active, in the field, and I really like this pick. We need more dogs out there, in our DBs, and more than what we already have. And I really like this. The secondary is looking like it's going to be a lockdown zone, a no-fly zone in about maybe 2 to 3 years. Hopefully we can keep K-Ham and all that. But what is your thoughts
Yes.
about TJ Tampa? I know you love this pick. I know you love the pick.
Yeah, I just love the depth, man. Honestly, because the Ravens secondary depth has been tested. It feels like the last decade.
Yeah.
Like we've lost guys like Jimmy Smith and more. And we were sending out freaking door dashers, in 2021. And I mean, the fact that we almost went to Foxborough in 2014 and beat the Patriots, with that freaking secondary. Remember me and you were watching the highlights and we were like
Yeah, it was number
looking at
30. That guy
we were
kept,
36 or something. We were like looking this guy up, like who the heck is this guy? He's a scrub,
and he won
like
the Super
so.
Bowl with the Broncos or something, I
But
think.
I know a jerk. Wasn't he the one that pants Grok in that game?
Yeah.
So, but anyways, the cornerback depth is going to be important, because like I said, it seems like our secondary, the two positions that get tested the most are our secondary and our edge, position. So the
Agreed.
Isaac pick is good for depth. So is the Tampa pick. Because obviously Tampa's probably not going to start, this year. Like if Wiggins isn't going to start, then TJ Tampa probably won't. That's barring anything that happens in training camp, rookie camp, OTAs, whatever. So and preseason as well. So, definitely the guy you probably bring in when the game's like a blown out. Hopefully we blow a lot of teams out this year, but our schedule's pretty hard, so that might not happen as often as it did this year, and just continue to build the depth up, because you know we've really kind of complained about depth from certain positions like offensive line, receiver, cornerback, anything in the secondary really, so we had that good depth last year, but like when Marcus Williams went down and he wasn't really playing that great. We had Geno Stone back there with Cahan. So secondary always gets tested for us. Hopefully they can all stay healthy. Marlon had the injury last year. He had a down year last year, but a lot of people don't give him, a lot of people, hating on him. Almost like give him some slack. He got a foot surgery, during the preseason. So like a lot of people seem to not forgive him for that. So I think that Marlo, he had a great 2022. I think he can have a great 2024. So I think he's gonna be balling his heart out, with him trying to get another contract, maybe with us or a different team. So I, I like to pick good depth. Hopefully, he can, work his way up. I know a lot of people had him drafted a little bit earlier than he was. We drafted him in the fifth round.
Fourth, yep, fourth round.
Oh, fourth round. So yeah, I want to see people had him in the second to even third round. So hopefully it's a steal for us. A guy that we can rely on. Maybe instead of freaking Arthur Milet there in the AFC Championship game, maybe he'll be a guy who will knock the ball down or pick it off. So
Yeah.
I don't know if TJ Tampa will be in that situation in the AFC Championship game, but you know, I, I love us getting depth at these positions.
Yeah, I mean, it's just MVS anyway. I bet me or you could have tipped the ball from him.
He's not even there anymore.
But this is like one of those picks when you play a Madden franchise, like the hidden development trade picks.
Right,
But
right.
but we both love this pick. We're very excited to see what he can do. So I feel like, when after this round four pick is when the Ravens draft kind of gets a little we're going on to round five. We drafted a running back, Rasheen Ali. This is no like diss towards his skills or anything, but I kind of don't understand why we went running back here. And I know that, Keaton Mitchell, he's going to kind of be recovering from his injuries. But we have Derrick Henry and we have Justice Hill still. I feel like we can have a good 1-2 punch with those guys up until Keaton is ready to come back. I don't really see why we draft a running back here, Rashid Ali. We could have drafted somebody like Brendan Rice. So, in my opinion, I don't really like this pick. He's from Marshall. I heard apparently at Marshall he averaged like 5 yards per carry or something like that, which is pretty good. But come on now, he's not going to be starting over Derrick Henry. I don't even see him starting over Hill.
I don't know.
Or
I don't wish to push the best John Harbaugh. He might get more carries than him in a playoff
Yeah.
game.
No, no, but then if he fumbles once, he's gonna put him in the doghouse like he did this one
Yeah,
million.
Ali, he's gonna need to learn that. No, it'd be funny if me and you are here a year from now talking about we lost the Chiefs AFC Championship game again. Why did Ali have 8 carries and Henry only had 3?
That would be something he would do, and that would make all of us mad, you know.
We're gonna
But
be at Harbaugh's doorstep.
that would actually be something he would do. Rasheen Ali has 8 carries for like 20 yards, and Derrick Henry has 3 carries for like 15 yards. Something like that.
I
But
always think about the possibilities of maybe if Heat Mitchell got to play that game, but I guess we can't really think about that.
Yeah, that would have been a game changer. But to read off his 2023 regular season stats, he had 203 carries, 1,043 rushing yards. Like I said, 5.1 yards per carry he averaged. He had 14 touchdowns. His longest rush was 61 yards. And his receiving yards, he had 28 receptions, 213 receiving yards, one receiving touchdown. So I mean, his stats are pretty good. At Marshall, and even played in the bowl game. I mean, they got blown out, but played in the bowl game as well. So, I don't doubt his skills, like I said, but I just don't think it's a necessary pick. Uh, so moving on to the next pick, guy Jared rushing me. I see the timer. I'm just playing, but you know, uh, next pick,
Oh, you
Nick.
can?
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh,
Uh, Nick Samac, center from Michigan State. So just like how I said for Adisa Isaac, I don't know too much about this guy. I saw one clip. He was like flipping off some of the fans in a section or something.
and
Uh,
maybe look, we Linderbaum wouldn't fight for crap, so maybe
yeah,
you got a little dog in him.
yeah. We need dogs on the O line, but I don't know too much about this guy. It seems like he's just a depth piece, for the O line. Maybe like a
Absolutely.
a
Didn't we
plug
lose
and
Sam
play.
Mustafer?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So yeah, so probably a good backup bench piece for in case Linderbaum gets hurt again.
Yeah. And then, I'll just move on to our very last pick of the draft, our Mr. Irrelevant. I'm just playing. But we drafted Sanusi Kane. He's a safety for Purdue. I don't know too much about him
You
either.
forgot the
He's
quarterback.
huh?
You forgot the quarterback
Yeah,
from
stop cutting me
Kentucky.
off. I'm just playing. We have the cornerback. Oh yeah, Devin Leary. I missed him.
Yeah, I
Round
don't get it, that
six.
pick.
Round six. We drafted quarterback Devin Leary from Kentucky. This is a pick I didn't get either. We could have drafted like I said, we could have drafted Jerry Rice's son. I forgot his name already. Jerry Rice's son, the wide receiver. But those
Was
are
that
our
Barry
last
Rice?
those are our last three picks. Devin Leary, Nick Samack, and Sanusi Kane. So two of those picks, are just I'm sorry, Devin Leary pick and the Rasheen Ali pick, in my opinion, just we could have chose something different. Brendan Rice, his name just came back to me, but yeah, that's the Ravens 2024 draft. What would you grade our draft?
I
Give it a
think
grade.
it's kind of hard because like they haven't played it down yet. But like I think at a possible potential, like it probably is like the B plus A minus. It really isn't a bad draft. Besides like the QB pick, like that's the pick I was like, what the hell are they doing? I guess maybe they don't have a lot of faith in Malik Washington. I mean, not Malik Washington. Malik what the hell is
Cunningham?
his name? Cunningham. Yeah, I said Malik Washington. He's the receiver who got drafted by the Dolphins, I think. But one of my favorite undrafted free agents they brought in was probably Bo Braid, Maryland
Yeah.
safety. So there's a lot of undrafted free agents. It would take us like 30 years to cover all of them,
Yeah.
but I think overall the draft was pretty good. B plus, A minus is probably fair. You know, if we can get, I would give it A plus if Tez Walker. To be honest, this is like that's one of my biggest sleeper picks of the draft for me. Is TJ Walker and TJ Walker. Tez Walker and TJ Tampa are my two favorite picks. Not my two favorite picks, but like my two picks that are kind of, guys I'm rooting for, personally. I mean, obviously I'm rooting for Wiggins. I'm rooting for, Isaac and Rosengarten. But like the two picks that I really want to succeed on this team are probably Tez Walker and TJ Tampa. But, Tez has a long road ahead of him, especially at that receiver position.
Right. I was looking at some of our UDFA signings, and I thought the guy's name was Devin Wade, but it was
Oh my God.
Dayton Wade, from Mississippi, from Ole Miss, I think. So, just to if I were to give our draft a grade, I would say a B plus too. I definitely do think this is more of an upside draft for us. These guys are going to have to show their potential on the field, and kind of like a low risk, high reward. But I think it was pretty solid. For what we needed.
Yeah.
We always knew it wasn't going to be a sexy draft, but just a draft, for the trenches and what we really need in key positions. So, B plus.
I guess I would say the last thing I want to say is I wish we kind of went offensive lineman maybe a little bit more. Like maybe we could have went offensive lineman with that quarterback or running back pick, but I guess maybe they trust Voorhees, Cleveland and Rosengarten. I don't know, but I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah. So we will see indeed. I can't wait for the season schedule coming out soon too. So that's all we got
Thursday.
for you guys today. Thursday. Oh, can't wait.
hmm We
We're
gotta do a
going to
schedule
the game.
prediction.
We're
We
going
gotta
to
do a
the game.
schedule. We gotta do like gotta sit down here and not right here, but on the phone or something and do our schedule prediction where we feel games are gonna be slotted at, and then we'll obviously talk about the schedule release, when that comes out.
Yeah, so I can't wait. I can't wait for that video. I can't wait. But we're excited for that video, guys. But that's all we got for you guys in this video today. Just going over our draft recap. Pretty solid draft. Make sure you check out our social medias. Make sure you check out our Instagram. Give some love to Jared for making those great Orioles edits and those great Orioles, templates that he's making.
I've been
Um,
slacking lately. I gotta get better on that.
but hey guys, show him some love in those Instagram comments and these YouTube comments. He's really grinding. Make sure you follow our Twitter. Make sure you follow our TikTok, and make sure you follow our other channel, Casual Cinema. But that's all we got for you guys today. We're Birds Play Sports, TJ and Jared, and we're out.
Wow.